Welcome back, everyone, to the Detox Your Dome podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about 2 items that you use at home every single day. However, you may not really think about these when it comes to non-toxic living. They don't have an ingredient label, but they're still so important to remember. These 2 items are toilet paper and plastic bags. Reel Paper is a sustainable and non-toxic toilet paper and paper towel brand that is free from BPA, chlorine, bleaches, formaldehyde, inks, dyes, fragrances, and trees. All ingredients that are scarily in the majority of toilet paper and traditional paper products. HoldOn Bags is a second brand that makes compostable, plastic-free bags. They have zip seal bags, doggy poop bags, and kitchen trash bags. I've been personally following and using these 2 brands for years now. They have always been sister companies, but a few months ago they formally merged, and we had the great pleasure of interviewing Jenny Konopinski from both brands about how and why to make the switch from traditional paper and plastic products to safer and sustainable options. We get super granular in this conversation. We talk about the health dangers and environmental impacts of traditional paper and plastic products. We talk about how these health dangers impact women more. We talk about composting, about how they've created products that look and act like plastic but aren't. We talk about bamboo and why it's a sustainable alternative. We talk about how HoldOn is leading a movement to clean up public spaces. And we talk about how these 2 brands have made it easier than ever for consumers to make these easy, accessible swaps. After listening to this episode, you will not be able to look at your toilet paper or trash bags the same. I know you're going to learn so much and feel so inspired to make these swaps. Welcome to Detox Your Dome, the podcast, where we empower you with knowledge about the ingredients that make up the products that we use every day. And we help you to become a more informed consumer on your journey towards living a clean, safe, and toxin-free lifestyle. Detox Your Dome. Body, home, planet. Welcome, Jenny, to the podcast.
Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have you here. And before we get into all of the fun and interesting questions around toilet paper and plastic bags, I'd love to just learn a little bit more about you. So I would love to know, has sustainability and low tox living always been a part of your life and your personal ethos? Or like, when did this occur in your life to make it important part of, one of your values of being sustainable, being eco-friendly, and switching to some of these alternative products?
I think it's definitely more in retrospect. I see that growing up in my childhood when I grew up in Germany, pretty small town in Germany, and moved over to the United States after my 8th birthday. So, it was just like my regular childhood. You don't know what's different until you go somewhere different.
Yeah.
My childhood was filled with multiple gardens, shelling peas in the balcony, canning everything, making everything from scratch. It was very much family oriented, DIY oriented.
This is my dream.
Yes.
I know. It was just like,
sounds like heaven.
Yes. Things are different. Other places.
Yeah.
So I don't think I really associated the 2 until I started getting older and really seeing.
Why did you move here? I would have just stayed.
My dad was in the military, so he met my mom over there. But we're the only people in my family that are not in Germany. So my whole mom's family is in Germany. Like my whole half of my life is still there. So
wow.
very much a part of my life, but it was really the foundation and the building blocks of just how I defined my normal and how you go about things. It was very much, you don't buy. You use the things you have, you make the things you have, and you do that with your family and your friends, and that's how you spend your time. So it wasn't until I was older when I really started connecting the dots of, there's a lot of this sustainability ethos and foundation and that way of life. And as I got older and started looking up into what am I doing with my life, my careers, that really kind of propelled me into just being really drawn to mission-driven brands, anything that really did a greater good. It's something that I've always been committed to throughout my career, is working with brands where I know I'm making an impact in one way, shape, or form. And, that went from one brand to the next and slowly got me back to sustainability, which feels very full circle with how I grew up and relearning all of these things and just spreading mission of small changes can really truly make a big impact.
And the skills too. I feel like growing up, learning how to garden, learning how to can things, learning how to just be
sustainable and sort of like look to your surroundings for food. My partner's the same way. She's always, we'll be on a hike and she's like, oh, this is a berry we can eat, or this is a plant. Like we let's make this for dinner into a pesto. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. And I feel like in the past few years, I've started to look at things, even in our backyard. I'm like, oh wait, we can make tea out of these dandelions, like why not? Such amazing skills to have, to be able to look at the world that way.
Yeah, and a great way of just spending time with your family and, making the things you have together.
So I have some questions about toilet paper.
Yes.
I feel like,
let's get into it.
Let's get into it. I feel like when you think of low tox living, sustainable living, you don't really think about your toilet paper. A lot of people are focused on, I'm really excited to talk about the HoldOn bags, plastic bags. I think that's more front of mind, but something that's more like, what? Switching my toilet paper? What are some of the ingredients and what are some of the problems with traditional toilet paper and paper products?
Yeah, so I think, that brings up such a good point to start. When you think about like sustainability or like choosing products that are better for you, it starts with a label, right? Like you read your food labels, you read your skincare labels, you read your beauty labels. So like, what about all those products that don't have like an ingredient label? I think that's where it kind of like trickles off and it isn't in the forefront of, oh, this is something that I need to consider, because we're so trained, like label trained of like, what are the ingredients? What does it make, And so I think, that is one thing, is just there's a whole world of things that don't have ingredient labels out there, but your choices still matter. And I think, toilet paper is such an easy thing where it's literally, you use it, everybody uses it every single day, but still made of things. It just doesn't have a nice, neat label, ingredient label on it.
You forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah. You forget about it. It's like just something in your background.
It's like breathing, like going to the bathroom, using toilet paper. It's like it's not even something that you think about.
Right. You use it, like, at least for me, I pee every hour. So like 10 times a day.
And also I remember being in college and like having to, for the first time in my life, like buy my own toilet paper and just even consider it. I'm like, it doesn't just like come with the bathroom. Like you have to go out and buy toilet paper.
Wait, side note, are you guys like an toilet paper over or toilet paper under? When positioning, and there is a right answer.
I'm an over person.
Oh my god, I'm an under person.
Really?
Uh-oh.
I'm like,
we gotta end it
I'm
here.
such like a type B person. Like it's however it goes on. I don't know. Now I'm gonna be overthinking it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I have a 4-year-old, so I feel like it's like a 50-50 split of everyone gets a turn.
You're like, as long as you're using the toilet paper, I actually don't care.
So going back to ingredients, like what are the ingredients in traditional toilet paper, and then how do the ingredients differ for real paper?
First and foremost, traditional toilet paper is made with virgin tree pulp. That means, it's not like, they're just trees that are cut down and that's it. And so they're a mix of hardwoods and softwoods, and you basically make this pulp out of it. As you can imagine, trees are not pure white. So to make it look nicer, you have to start treating them with a cocktail of chemicals, especially when you consider in packaging, shipping, shelf life, all of these things. And toilet paper is paper. It can absorb moisture and, the elements. So it's basically treated with a whole cocktail of chemicals, including probably the worst offenders: formaldehyde, chlorine, bleach, fragrances are even in there sometimes. And then of course, forever chemicals, PFAS. And so formaldehyde, as you probably know, it's used to preserve bodies. It's a preservative, and it can also prevent bacteria and mold in paper products. So that's why it's in toilet paper, right? Because you don't want moldy toilet paper as it's getting shipped halfway around the world and sitting on a shelf forever and trucked around. And then chlorine, bleach, as you can imagine, used to whiten paper. And this product process with the bleach actually releases something called dioxins, which is, very problematic toxin and can stay in your body for over a decade. And that bleach paper can have residual traces of dioxins. And then, of course, as you said, it comes into contact with really vulnerable skin where it's like high absorption, and you get into, that domino effect. And then, fragrances are just in there for who knows why.
I know. It's like, can we just stop putting fragrances and everything? Like, we don't need them.
It goes in the toilet. Like, no.
And so, chlorine bleach is in there as well. And then PFAS, that's a chemical thousands of different chemicals that are added to all sorts of consumer products. And oftentimes it's for water resistance and also added softness. And so that includes toilet paper. And I think back in 2023, there was a study where it tested 21 toilet paper brands and they all tested positive for PFAS as well.
Whoa.
So again, when you're thinking about where it comes in contact with, toilet paper, obviously very sensitive skin. And then later on, when we talk about HoldOn, I think about it with the Zip Seal bags we have, like people go out of their way to buy organic foods. And then you're like just putting it in plastic bags that have
we forget to think about that part. If you're already going non-toxic, like might as well do the full thing.
Totally. Yeah. And I also like, it always gets me when I'm shopping for toilet paper or paper towels. I'm at the store and it's like the whole thing is wrapped in plastic and then each individual thing is wrapped in its own plastic. I'm like, why? Like, why did each individual paper towel need its own wrapper of plastic? I'm like, this is just crazy. And I'll look at like the grocery store and I'm like, this is one out of like 300,000 grocery stores in America. And I'm just like, I can't even fathom the amount of plastics.
And you don't think about it because you're like, oh, I just need to get toilet paper. And you mentioned formaldehydes.
Yes.
Why is that harmful?
For formaldehyde, it's, like I said, it has trace amounts in the toilet paper. It can be transferred to your skin. It's especially transferred in warm, moist environments, even more so, which is, you can think about even more sensitive for women in that way. And contact with formaldehyde, especially on sensitive parts of a woman's body or anybody's skin. For a woman, it can cause vulvar itching, burning, chronic dermatitis, and a slew of other, issues. And there's also a study by the American Contact Dermatitis Society, and it lists formaldehyde as one of the top allergens in personal care products. So
got it.
Skin irritation, allergic reactions, cancer, sure what likelihood that is, but it's one of their top allergens that's found in personal.
I've said this to friends before who have like chronic UTIs, chronic yeast infections, and I'm like, try just switching out your toilet paper and like switching out your underwear. Like we always think it's like something that's like going on or like I need to take like medicine or whatever, and obviously if it gets to that point you have to, but like there are things that are like touching your sensitive areas every day. And again, the toilet paper, it's like, it's not something you think about, but you're literally like wiping yourself with this and it contains all these crazy ingredients.
It's crazy. And then with chlorine bleach, like I said, it's commonly used to whiten the toilet paper, and in the process, it releases something called dioxins. And according to the EPA, it's one of the most toxic chemicals that they've ever studied in terms of impact on reproductive and immune systems, hormonal balances, endometriosis, for reproductive issues, cancer risk, all kinds of things. And this bleach paper, it has these trace amounts of dioxins. And then again, it comes into contact with really sensitive, high absorption areas of skin, which can be absorbed into your body. It stays in your body for 7 to 10 years. And like you guys were saying,
why is this allowed? Like, is this just not a regulated industry? Like, why? What's going on?
Such a rabbit hole. But like you guys were saying, it's like that. I think I read the average American uses 57 sheets of toilet paper a day, and so if you do that over a year, you're thinking of like thousands of exposures. So it's definitely, I think again, that's one of the mental hurdles maybe for toilet paper is you're like, it's just this, it's just a little thing. It's just a little thing.
It all adds up.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts, where you're like doing this thousands of times to yourself every year for your whole lifetime. So it's like, it's going to be these incremental changes that you can make, for the worse or for the better.
So you wipe, you're using this toilet paper, you're wiping yourself with all these horrible ingredients, and then you're also putting it into the toilet and then flushing it. And then it goes into the water systems. So what impact does it have on our water systems? Do like waste treatment facilities break down these chemicals? Like where are they ending up?
I mean, I think the chemical aspect is definitely the biggest impact when you're thinking about like after it's flushed away.
Yeah.
And probably the most problematic is PFAS chemicals, like the forever chemicals, because there's no way of capturing those, you know, filtering those out of your water system. So it's, again, just additive. The more it goes in, the more is going to stay out there and, you know, impact our waterways, what gets used for our waterways. Like it's going to stay somewhere in the world, no matter what. So definitely the chemicals are probably the biggest impact, like all of the bleaches, dyes, chemicals that are in toilet paper that will just go back into the water. But the PFAS chemicals are probably the most problematic of the bunch.
Okay, so we talked about the impact on your health, talked about the impact on it goes into nowhere. How many trees are like killed every single year because of toilet paper?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that number.
I do.
Oh, let's go.
Because I was interested in it too. It's, I think, an average of 9.8 million trees a year are cut down just for toilet paper, like the toilet paper industry alone.
Wow.
You can kind of round up 10 million trees. That's so much.
That's a lot. It's crazy. It's shocking. The hospital that we live near, it's like on the little walking trail that I do, and they are expanding and they cut down like 3 trees to expand. And I literally like had my own personal like little vigil over these trees because I was like, no. And it was the day after Earth Day too. I was devastated. I was like, how dare they during Earth Month, they cut down this tree. And that was straight up 3 trees. Like I can't imagine 10 million.
I know. You know, I think this is a good segue into just talking about bamboo alternatives. Like,
tell us about bamboo. Tell us about Reel. How are you guys solving all these problems?
Interestingly, bamboo is actually a grass and not a tree.
Okay, I was asking Sophia before. I go, wait, is bamboo a tree?
Yeah.
I mean, like people.
Okay, so it's a grass. There we go.
It's a grass. We get questions being like, how can you say tree-free? Bamboo's a tree, but it's actually not just a grass. It's one of the fastest growing plants on the planet.
And what does that mean, fastest growing? Like, are we talking like inches a day? Like,
in optimal conditions, there are like reported strains of bamboo that can grow, I think, 35 to 40 inches in a day.
Okay. Okay. That's fast.
You can truly watch it grow.
Watching it fast grow, if you're watching the right bamboo, might be interesting. So, like, you know, when you think about just the length of time it takes for trees to grow versus high growth bamboo, that is, you know, probably one of the most easiest to understand.
And where are bamboo? Is that like a readily available plant everywhere?
It's in different regions of the world. And we make sure to source ours from 100% sustainably sourced bamboo. So, you know, that's a little distinction you want to make sure as well, because you don't want them, you know, just sourcing bamboo and not taking the right measures to make it regrow in the right way and have it be sustainable in those efforts. And then speaking of that, bamboo also regenerates from the same root after being harvested, which is interesting.
Oh, so you don't even need to like replant it.
Exactly. So you literally don't plant it, which is why, taking care of the bamboo plants after you cut them down in the right way to make them healthy and grow again is really important. But that's just causes less damage to the plant and erosion to the ecosystem.
And so why is bamboo better than trees? Besides like environmental impact is amazing.
Yeah. And so, it has really great environmental impacts. The list still goes on. They add more oxygen into the air. They are drought resistant, so they need less water. And then it's also sequesters a large amount of carbon out of the air as well. So there's like a whole slew of
amazing
environmental benefits. But it's also it's a strong fiber and a naturally soft fiber. So a lot of times you might associate that more with like clothing, like bamboo fiber, like any kind of bamboo clothes, or they make different like athleisure kind of things with cellulose plants and bamboo. It's a very soft yet strong.
They're always like the softest pajamas when they're made with bamboo.
So, that translates to other things that it can make as well. And so it's a really, not just for the environmental benefits, but when you're looking for something that needs to be strong and soft and good for the environment, it's that trifecta of all the different check marks for things like toilet paper.
Yeah. Would you say that bamboo toilet paper is softer than regular toilet paper?
I think so. I think it also depends on the construction of the toilet paper. So for our toilet paper for Reel, not only is it made out of 100% sustainably sourced bamboo, it's actually 3-ply construction. So it has these layers of bamboo paper. So it's extra soft, extra strong.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
natural
Sold.
soft bamboo. And then we do have a specific way of processing and manufacturing it to make sure it has a super soft texture. And of course, we don't add any chemicals or any other things you don't need in there to preserve the softness and the feel of it.
I have to say, I've been using Reel Paper for probably over 6 years now. When I use like the, quote unquote, like the soft plush, whatever, I'm like, I hate this. Like, I hate when the toilet paper pills.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if this is TMI, but everybody's listening knows what I'm talking about.
No,
it's just like, why is this coming apart? Like the Reel paper, it's like soft and it stays together, and I feel like it just works. It's durable.
Also, the packaging is unbelievable.
It's gorgeous. Yes. My mom was like, she's like, it's so like sleek in the bathroom, and it has, like your R on it, but my dad's name is John, and so she like flips the things around so it says J. She's like, it's like your father's personal toilet. I'm like, this is insane.
Monogram toilet paper.
Okay, so we talked about all these ingredients that they use to make traditional toilet papers, preserve them, to make them white. What are like the different ingredients that you guys do that achieves all of those? Because, anyone who's used Reel like will know that you're not sacrificing anything. So like, what are the different ingredients you guys are using, and like, how does the processing differ to create the Reel bamboo products?
Who doesn't love a candle? I know some of my simple pleasures in life include cleaning my house, getting cozy on the couch, putting on my favorite show, and lighting a beautiful candle. But what I don't love about traditional candles are the PFAs, formaldehyde releasers, synthetic fragrances, heavy metals, and volatile organic compounds that are often found in them. It definitely just ruins the experience for me if I know that I'm potentially breathing in carcinogenic or hormone disrupting chemicals. And this is why I almost exclusively shop Fate Naturals candles. She has somehow made non-toxic candles smell as potent as the ones that you would buy at Home Goods. I have yet to recommend this candle brand to someone who does not absolutely love them. What's also so fun about Fate Naturals is that she does these seasonal drops. So each season she comes out with a collection of 6 scented candles. The spring collection that just dropped has the scents Succulent Garden, Yuzu Blossom, Blueberry Muffin, Grapefruit Basil, Beach Bonfire, and Coastal Cottage. She also does a Candle of the Month Club where you'll be the first to try exclusive and new scents. The past few months have been Sweet Magnolia for April, which is a delicate floral scent, Lucky Shamrock for March, which is a combination of a crisp aloe and a zesty lime, and February was a red velvet cupcake, which was very sweet and buttery. I have tried lots and lots of candles, and I just always come back to Fate Naturals. They are always my first recommendation when someone is looking for a non-toxic candle. You can get 10% off any Fate Naturals purchase, including monthly recurring subscriptions, with my code DetoxYourDome. That is 10% off any Fate Naturals purchase with the code DetoxYourDome, spelled DetoxYourdome. I promise you will love Fate Naturals.
I mean, I think a lot of it is just like what we're not doing to really achieve that, where it's like we're not adding all of those chemicals. We're making sure to have our fibers in a certain way, again, in the processing and how we create the pulp from the bamboo.
Yep.
It's really like what we're not doing. And then this is maybe jumping around, but our paper towels, there's a process called TAD, which is through air drying. And so regular paper towels, it's just like sheets, and it's like pulp, and they're like pressed, but then you have to dry them. And traditional paper towels, it's like squeeze dry, kind of like get all the moisture and the water out. But we use a very special and kind of fancy process called TAD, which is through air drying, and it's multi-ply, and they're like air dried, so they're stay fluffy. It has more absorbency.
So this is when you're creating the product.
Exactly.
This is what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Like this is for our paper towels. Like regular paper towel. Like you're making the fiber, the wood pulp, and making the sheets, and then it's wet, and then you press it to expel all the water out.
Okay.
Pressing it. And
got it.
Interesting.
For the paper towels, they're essentially like air dried to simplify things. And that keeps them nice, fluffy, soft, and super absorbent.
Oh,
So
I
it's
love
kind of
that.
like a new thing that I learned about too at the, when I joined the Reel family.
Yeah.
I love it.
I feel like it's so interesting. I feel like the misconception is like, okay, if it's, 100% bamboo and non-toxic, then it's going to be like less effective, less absorbent,
Right.
Yeah.
like less comfortable, less soft, but that's just not the case.
Totally. And I love that there's brands like Reel that are not only innovating the ingredients themselves, but you sort of have to innovate the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, like you're kind of creating new processes that honestly work better. And you're like, why isn't everyone doing this? And good on you guys for just taking on this space. Honestly, every brand that we talk to, every brand that I look to for a non-toxic product, because we have just this standard of like, this is toilet paper, this is paper towels, this is just how they are. It's a mega company that every single person in the whole country knows the name of and knows what it is. And there's people out there saying, no, we can do better and we deserve better for ourselves. We deserve better for our planet. And like, you're finding little technical aspects of the entire life cycle that like people like me are definitely not thinking about, but it's making such a difference.
No, I love it. You guys are rocking the boat and you're making like real change happen. It's definitely inspiring.
Starting with things that people use a lot, I think to make it easy, you have to make it work really good for people to stick with those changes. And that's why our team is so, laser focused on making really high quality products, because we know if they're not good, it's just going to feed into that cycle of like natural products don't work as good.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, we are not succumbing to this.
How are you guys doing with just like educating the market? Like what challenges are you coming across with talking to consumers about making this switch?
I think going back to the label situation, I think it's just educating consumers that you still have to pay attention to your choices beyond the label. I think we're so label trained that you think you don't have a choice if it doesn't have, a label you turn around on the back of the box. So it's really, educating on just the sustainability aspect of like, it takes so many trees. It's really hard on our planet. And also starting to lean into just the discussion around health. It's Women's Health Month right now, and we're going to be doing a little content series specifically around toilet paper and women's health, just because, at the end of the day, it impacts women more. Go to the bathroom differently. We menstruate. We just use more toilet paper. It's a fact, and so there's
such a good point.
Conversation around that, and just having a discussion point for people to start thinking about like, oh, I didn't know that. Let me read about it, or let me go find out more about it. What are, like you said, what are my choices? You think there is just choice, but there is more out there. And, I think the sustainability and the health, those are things that we continue to lean on, because a lot of people just don't think about their toilet paper, unfortunately. It isn't every day.
So Reel Paper is FSC certified and a B Corp. So these are, those certifications that people can look to when they're trying to find better for them products and know that this is a verified, trusted source. So what do those certifications mean in general, and what do they mean for Reel Paper?
B Corp is probably something that a lot of people are familiar with. I know there's a lot of discussion around B Corp right now at the moment, but in general, they essentially have a very, very, very stringent process for vetting multiple aspects of a business's, different categories that they measure and score you. And you have to meet those sets of standards in different parts of their criteria to be certified a B Corp. And it is essentially a marker for consumers who are looking to buy products that, I think they say are a force for good. Like, what are those brands you can look for and support businesses and brands that have been measured to meet a certain standard in different aspects according to B Corp. It's a very long process. It took over a year for HoldOn from start to finish. And so it's like, that was one thing I didn't know about before working with B Corp brands, is how hard and long of a process it truly is. I thought like,
and is it like a one and done process, or do you have to keep on every year? It's a new.
I think it's every 3 years that you have
Okay.
to renew, and their standards and their way that they're measuring it is actually changing in the upcoming years. So it's going to be a little bit of a transition. But yeah, I thought it was just like you apply, you're good.
Yep.
But it's very rigorous, a very long process, like easily over a year most times. So it's a huge, huge accomplishment
Wow.
for brands, especially small brands that go through this, financially, time, energy wise, it's a lot. And then FSC certification, the Forest Stewardship Council, and that means that products are sourced from forests that are managed responsibly, meeting
Okay.
standards of environmental, social, economic standards. And so it's a little bit of a better choice where you know that,
Awesome.
if there are any processes, they're done in a certain way to uphold environmental standards as well. So there are two very big certifications to look out for.
Awesome.
Amazing.
And are there more sort certifications that you guys are charging at?
I think maybe more so for HoldOn. There's so many different certifications and compostability and everything. And then just making sure that we continue to meet the B Corp certification, since that's an ongoing, ever evolving, criteria with their changes that they're making.
I love it. So let's talk about HoldOn.
Yes.
Let's talk about
Shifting
plastic bags and HoldOn bags. My first question is, do you know how many plastic bags Americans or each one of us on average is going through in like a year?
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a great question.
Yeah, this is I think, looking at it high level, there are a lot of the statistics out there say Americans use on average around 100 billion plastic bags. Billion
100 billion with a B.
with a B.
Okay. The big B.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
And that's
Okay.
just Americans.
that's just in the United States. And
Wow.
so again, when you think about that, on a global scale, and again, that's like plastic bags of every shape and size,
Mhm.
think about how many times you go for, if you're picking up like a takeout and it's in a
It's
bag,
literally everywhere. No, there's so many
for
bags everywhere.
5 minutes and then it's gone. And
Right.
it sticks around for like 1,000 years. So I think that's, always the weight on my mind where you're like,
Mhm.
this has a purpose for like 5 minutes. It's going to be
Yeah.
Yep.
My hometown went through like a phase where we were not using any plastic bags anymore. Like all of our
Okay.
stores changed. Grocery stores, it was like no more plastic bags. I think it's still that way, but
amazing.
which is great. But no, I agree. Like I think even like today, I'm thinking I use like at least 4 different plastic bags. I'm the problem.
Okay, we're getting you on a HoldOn bag subscription. So tell us about the HoldOn bags. So they're compostable bags. I am so excited to learn about this. And like, what does a compostable bag mean? Like, what is it made out of?
Yeah, it's very interesting. It is made out of a couple of different ingredients, primarily something called PBAT, which is essentially this polymer that requires less crude oil during production than traditional plastic, and it breaks down quickly in a compost environment. There's also something called PLA, which is derived from cornstarch, I believe. And
What?
yeah, so it's like we use renewable resource as well, cornstarch.
Okay.
Cool.
And then, there's PBAT, PLA, cornstarch, and then all of our packaging is FSC certified as well. And, we never use any plastic in our packaging either. So those are the main ingredients and materials in our bag, that PBAT, PLA, cornstarch. And then we make sure that our packaging is, that FSC certified material. It's compostable as well. And that just means,
Okay.
it's going to break down back into organic materials.
Clarifying question. So these bags, these are bags that you put like that you can use all the time for any purpose.
Yes, great question. So like,
Okay.
ideal scenario, they're composted. Like that's like when you get the greatest benefit from beginning to end, but you can use them for non-composting benefits. And again, it's just really about shifting a consumer's behavior away from traditional plastic. And, again, that domino effect of like, they start with this easy swap and then they're looking at the next thing they can change and the next thing they can change, because similar to toilet paper, trash bags, Ziploc bags, they're items everybody uses. So again,
Right.
I think the cool thing about both Reel and Hold On is they're focused on these everyday essentials made better for people and the planet. We want to make it a really easy swap for people that this is totally new to and make it accessible. So we're in Target, a bunch of retail stores. Most people still buy those essentials in a store.
100%. Everyone does. So how long does it take for like a regular trash bag to
yeah. So, and like, it's interesting what plastic does. It really just breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. It never becomes anything other than plastic. So that's the problem with microplastics, right? Like a plastic object breaks down smaller, 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 smaller. It comes microplastics. It comes whatever comes after microplastics, but it's
nanoplastics.
I think I read somewhere that like by 2050, there's going to be more plastic in the water than there are fish.
Yes. I think
that's crazy.
Still on. And so that is kind of the crazy part about plastic is it takes a long time to break down. It stays around forever, but then it just stays plastic, just in smaller and smaller forms and shapes. And with composting, it actually breaks down into material, like nutrient rich materials.
Okay.
So it does change its form. It doesn't stay that one thing. Breaks down over time under certain conditions with like heat. It has to have those organic elements in it. But then it does go and become nutrient dense soil and compost that you can use again. So that's like the really big difference between traditional plastic bags and, again, the ideal scenario is our bags to be composted. We know that's not accessible for everyone. Composting is really not made easy in the United States. I think it's not super accessible for everyone. But again, it's all about getting that mind shift away from traditional plastic. There's other benefits in our bag and just becoming that catalyst for change for something that you need every day. Just swap it for a little bit better. And then you're looking for the next step and the next step and the next step. And that's really, how we see Hold On and Reel together is just, making those small changes. And through this like big collective effort, we are making a big impact together.
I love it. So say I have my Hold On zip seal bag and I have my leftover, half cut up veggies and they're in the fridge. They're just like, in the bag. Maybe I took them on a picnic or whatever. And now they're old. I'm ready to, discard it, throw it out. Can I just put that whole bag, all of the food with the bag inside the compost and then it'll just change into wow. Okay.
Yeah. And on your picnic, you bring the paper towels too. Don't forget that.
I think you could cut off like the zipper and like I have a loamy, so I could cut it up into like strips just to like, because it's like a loamy, you know what I mean? But like,
is that the countertop? That's like composter. Okay, that's the one that I saw on Instagram this morning.
And all of the Hold On bags, with the exception of our large trash bag, is actually certified both home and industrially certified.
Okay.
So that's where like a little bit of that difference. There's essentially two different types of composting, home and industrial.
Okay.
Like home is something like if you have a compost pile or one of those like things you turn or, a loamy, whatever. Those are things at home and it really varies depending on your climate. Like there's so many factors that go into it. And then an industrial compost is typically through your municipality. It's like really high heat, high pressure to basically speed up the process and make it go faster.
Okay.
And handle different types of material. So there's like different nuances and there's actually different certifications for each type of composting.
Okay.
Hold On Bags is, again, all of our products with the exception of the 13-gallon one are home and industrially compostable certified. That means we have to like send these third-party labs all of our products. It has to break down in a certain time frame. They test the soil. That's, again, all third-party tested, extremely rigorous, very high standards. So it's not just us doing it, it's someone else being like, prove that it works, and then we'll give like the seal of approval. And then all of the bags are also industrially compostable as well.
Okay. It's so great. And I started using the for our dog, like the compostable dog poop bags. But what inspired me to do this was 2 years ago, my parents have a boat, and like if anyone has a boat, and especially in New England or somewhere where it's cold, it's like you have like 2 months of the year that you can use these things. And like if there's something that goes wrong with the boat, like it's a massive deal. And there was like something going on, we couldn't figure it out. So they have to literally get it taken out of the water. They cannot figure out what is wrong with it.
Oh gosh.
There was a doggy poop bag stuck in the pipe that like exhausts the water. No. And we were all like, you're literally kidding. So since then, I refuse to use like regular plastic dog poop bags. But I was like, this is just one example of truly the billions of plastic bags that are in the ocean. I'm like, it's so sad. Yeah. So I love that you guys do the doggy poop bags. You do the zip seal bags. And then I also feel like you're one of the only brands that I've ever seen that has the trash bag too, because it's like, you know, even if you are throwing things out, and what gets me too is in our town, our recycling, you can't recycle the actual plastic bag that you're putting your recycling in. So like if you're putting the recycling in, you know, in your kitchen, you're putting your plastic and your paper things, you're putting them in the recycle thing. But then when you take it out to the dumpster, you have to like dump that out of that. And I'm just like, oh, this is so sad. So I've been loving using the HoldOn bags instead, because I'm like, at least this isn't just like a plastic bag. Like it's truly not even being used to like transport. Totally. So do your trash bags differ from like the zip seal bags, and like how do you make them strong enough so that it can be a trash bag?
This podcast is brought to you by Dime Beauty. So skincare is where I personally started my non-toxic journey. I spiraled into this entire lifestyle of non-toxic living through reading ingredients of my skincare products. I personally just wanted to ensure that I was getting the proper value for the price that I was paying. I figured that if I could learn to read an ingredient label, I would be able to assess if a cream was actually worth $80 or if I get the same one for $20. This led me to realizing how many carcinogenic, sensitizing, hormone disrupting ingredients there are in so many of the most popular skincare products. I have tried dozens and dozens and dozens of non-toxic skincare brands and products, and one that I consistently keep centering the bulk of my skincare routine around is Dime Beauty. Dime Beauty creates products that are the perfect balance between effective and luxurious while still being clean and non-toxic. Their TBT products, guys, these are actually the first skincare products I've ever used to give me that glass skin. Like I get into bed at night and my girlfriend tells me that I look 3 years old because the Dime TBT serum and moisturizer just work so well. They make my skin so bouncy and shiny. I look forward to wearing them every single night. If I'm going to like a girls' night or going somewhere where I don't even want to be wearing makeup, like I will do this serum and moisturizer because it just gives my skin so much brightness and bounce that I feel like I don't even need to be wearing makeup when I'm wearing them. The Dime TBT serum and moisturizer have bakuchiol in them, which is a plant-derived vitamin A, or a natural alternative to a retinol or tretinoin. I also love their hyaluronic acid serum and their gentle jelly cleanser. They also sell non-toxic ingredient transparent fragrances with an EWG score of 1, which means it's literally the least toxic and does not contain any harmful ingredients. My absolute favorite scent is the Dans les Bois. It's both woodsy and floral. I just feel like an it girl when I'm wearing it. But I also recommend just getting their little fragrance sample pack and seeing which one you like best, because I've heard great things about all of their scents. It's always fun seeing which scents you guys like the most and which feel the most like you. I feel like I get to know you a little bit better by which scent you choose. I have partnered with Dime Beauty to provide you with a very generous 20% discount when you use the code DetoxYourDome. That is 20% off all and any Dime Beauty skincare and fine fragrances with the code DetoxYourDome, spelled DetoxYourdome.
So HoldOn was like a year or two in, just like research and development, working with our manufacturers super closely to really just like walk that line of being compostable, but really heavy duty. And that's why, again, you know, we knew that the consumer has a certain threshold of, you know, expectations, which is why we worked for a long time with our manufacturer to have a really strong drawstring on there too, because a lot of people have, when you think of a trash bag, it has the drawstring. So that was like a really thing for us is, you know, we're like, has to look like a trash bag, has to feel like a trash bag.
Right. It's got to be heavy duty.
It's got to be heavy duty. And so we just really have, worked with our manufacturer through, a very long research and development process to get the formulation right while still meeting all of these criteria and testing for the composting certifications. And we just didn't compromise on that threshold of high quality and premium quality. And even our like zip seal bags, they're like, I get asked all the time, like, if they're compostable, like, is it just going to break down in my fridge?
Right.
Like, literally, I've marinated in them. I've kept like watermelon in them, cut up. Like, they're so heavy duty. They're actually designed to be freezer safe as well. So I use them for the freezer and everything, but they're still compostable, compostable certified, industrial certified. So we just really work closely. It took us a really long time, but we didn't compromise because we knew that it had to work for people to stick with us. And with the zip seals too, like we were saying before, it's, so important for those products that are touching your food to not have those like chemicals and everything. Because if you are storing your food in them, if you're like your lunches in them, how many things do you have for kids with like little snack bags? Like, or
oh my gosh, exactly.
Everything.
Food, like it's everything. And there was recently a study, and I think it was like 7 out of 11 zip seal bags were tested positive for PFAS of just like, buy in the store. So again, it's like going back into like, you're making all of these good choices, but then you're just like maybe contaminating them too. And, it is like, you don't want to get information overload because that is like, can be pretty unhelpful, but it's all about those things. Like if there is a better alternative, like you probably see on the HoldOn bags, so it's a better bag, it's a better way. Like,
and it's also like you guys are in Target now, you're in all these grocery stores, like there is truly no excuse. Like it's right there.
Turn your head to the left.
And I love it because, anytime I'm at a store, like obviously I'm in this whole world of low tox living, but even before I was like really into this, if there's a better option there, I'm going to try it. I'm going to, look towards it. You guys are like, we're not sacrificing on quality and we're going to be in the same place. So literally just turn your head to the left. And
get to Target right now. Girls and boys, get to Target right now. I will be going there right away.
It's our goal to be accessible ultimately, like people where they're at, and little baby steps. But again, I think that's what you have to remember. Like your choices are defined by what you buy. Like it does different,
and it just adds up.
It adds up. It's not immediate, but like businesses and companies will change to where consumers are going. So
is the goal to bring HoldOn and Reel to like CVS, Walgreens, like
I mean, we want to be wherever people are, you know what I mean? And because like I said, when you need something like toilet paper or trash bags, like you need it that day sometimes.
Literally that day. Also, I was looking at the price points, very comparable.
It's
like there's no reason not to do
right. So you're making all these amazing products, you're making these amazing bags, and then you do this incredible initiative for Earth Month. So tell us about what HoldOn Bags was doing during Earth Month.
I'm so excited to share this. This is probably the most fun thing to work on for my first year for HoldOn's first Earth Month, which was now 3 years ago. But we make these products called a cleanup kit. It has a trash picker, compostable bags, and compostable gloves. So the idea is,
I love that.
Kit has everything you need to just like we say, like keep the spaces you love cleaner and greener, right? And so just get out there, make a difference. And when thinking about HoldOn, it's so important to be connected to community and really making a difference where it counts, especially with plastic waste, trash. It's around us. Everywhere. When you go outside, when you go on a hiking trail, when you
it gives me like chills.
It's everywhere. And so, I think there's thinking about what a brand or a business can do. You can do give backs, you can do donations and this and that. But like ultimately what's the most powerful thing you can do is like
get involved.
And get involved locally, right? So it's like the spaces where you live, like
get those gloves on and pick it up yourself.
And it's like normalize it. And so for our very first Earth Month, it started as our first time, and we gave away our cleanup kits all month long. Like, you didn't need to pay shipping.
Wow.
You wanted one, we sent you one. We covered shipping for it.
Literally just like a DM and it's there.
That's amazing.
It was like on our website, get it, we'll cover it. Like, we had, I think, like originally like a form that you fill out, and then we just like would fulfill them every day and ship it out. And so like, again, instead of just like passing along, donating to this or doing this, or
this is like a ripple effect. It's
literally
crazy.
like we're giving you the tools, we're paying for the products, we're paying for the shipping, just to put this thing in your hands in the hopes of like, getting out in the world and making your neighborhood cleaner. And I'm just beyond proud to say that we've been able to do this every year for Earth Month. And
wow,
it's amazing.
It's also like, when you're supporting a brand and you see these certifications, they're B Corp or 1% for the planet or all these things, or sometimes even when you check out, I've seen like, do you want to donate to one of these things? And it's like, this is amazing, but we are all the agents of this change. And sometimes I think we think, oh, pollution's happening out there, waste is happening out there. But no,
like they'll fix it.
Right. It happens somewhere else. Yeah. And it's like, no, every single person, every time you go to the beach, you go to the park, you go on a walk, like you see trash. And it's like, if we just get into this mindset of like, when you see trash, you just pick it up and like just making it part of your daily hike, like bringing maybe a small zip seal bag and just bring it with you when you go on a hike and just pick up 3 pieces of trash. Like those are the things that make the difference and get us all involved. And it makes you care more about the spaces that you visit as well.
Yeah, it's our Earth. This is the world that we are living in. Like, it's our responsibility to make it nice.
Right.
And doing something in the real world.
Exactly.
Feel like it's so anonymous where you're just like, I'll like check thing here, and you're like, where does it go? I don't know.
Right.
Like, I want to love where I live. Like, I want to be like, yeah, this is where I live. It's beautiful. Like, let me show you my neighborhood. I don't want trash on the ground. Like, and it's my responsibility to pick it up.
Yeah. And I feel like it also plays into that whole idea of third spaces. It's like you have your home, you have your work. The third space is like a free space, usually outdoor park or beach or somewhere that's just accessible. And, people talk about this like epidemic of the loss of third spaces in the United States. And I feel like a big part of that is you have to like contribute to the third space. Like you have to nurture the third space. It's not like it just is there, like if you want a nice walk that you can go on with friends, like you got to go out there and just pick up the trash and make it nice.
And I think it's like, it's teaching kids at a young age that like, this is cool. This is fun. Like, let's do it all together. Like bring your friend.
Right. This is treasure hunt.
I think like I see it as just like normalizing something. Like we have that from an early age, they think it's normal. They'll continue to do it going on. And, for this Earth Month, we were able to give away, I think it was like close to 5,500 kits.
Awesome.
And we had double the like requests for it in half a day.
Yeah, I believe it.
Crazy.
A kit makes it fun. Like if there's like certain pieces and like I saw the little claws, like it makes it fun.
It's all about the branding. Like we just give the people an unboxing and they will be in the parks.
I'm there.
The trash.
And so I feel like it's really like rewarding to see the like appetite for wanting to participate grow.
I love that.
It's amazing.
Last year we had fewer kits and it sold out in 4 days, and this time we like had over 5,000 kits in like 4 hours. So it's like and like the kids as well. It's such a great opportunity and a tool to partner with different organizations. We've partnered with countless.
I'm thinking like Girl Scouts, like Boy Scouts.
Yeah, totally. We've partnered with like Keep America Beautiful and like one-off organizations. And then, with like normalizing this for like children and, it sounds cheesy, but like children are our future. Like,
what advice do you have for other moms out there for like living a sustainable lifestyle and teaching those tips to your children?
Yeah. Well, I think like a trash cleanup walk is so important. I would say keep it fun, make a game out of it. Do it literally on your way when you're walking to a park if that's accessible to you. You know what I mean? If you're doing a walk around a neighborhood, give your child some control. Like there was a phase where my kid used the trash picker just to be like the pointer and be like, there's one, there's one,
Yeah.
there's one. Like he was like the finder and I was like the picker upper. It gives your kid an opportunity to kind of like boss you around, which they think is really cool.
Okay, all right.
And I think just like keep it light, make it fun. And then, I think it's all about just don't get, I think especially with children, it's so easy to get into this like TikTok algorithm spiral of like everything bad. And, it is really hard. The same is true for like sustainability, the environment, what you're feeding your kid, what you're doing with your kid.
Yeah.
But it's like, let that pass. What do you have control over? And I would say, like, what are things that you do or use a lot and try to change those and not everything, And I think that's why things like Reel and Hold On are so important because they're essentials.
Right.
They're not like these optional things that you add into your routine. It's truly like a swap.
What are some other ways that you live a sustainable lifestyle? Outside of the bags you use and the toilet paper you use, what are some other just like daily practices and tips that you do at home?
I would say, I try to keep it simple. I really focus on not overbuying things, like really using things until they're used. I, try to fix things that I can fix. I have like minimal, like sewing skills, other types of skills that I just try to incorporate and live more sustainably. And then there's like little things where it's like I do the French press coffee instead of all the Keurigs,
Right.
I think it's a funny cycle where we're all going back to like how things used to be done.
Yeah.
Yes. And
we're going back to Germany.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Think about how you grew up. It's like just like being more subsistent on yourself.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend always says this. She's like, you buy it right or you buy it twice. It's like buy something that's like higher quality. And I feel like I've been more into buying something that's just higher quality the first time and then it just lasts forever because otherwise like you're just gonna have to get another one in a year.
Totally. I think, at the end of the day, I'm just very mindful of what I buy, being careful not to overbuy, doing all the things like bringing your reusable bags, avoiding the Keurig type of like home things. I've been really loving the switch to shampoo bars, all of those things, because after a while was a weight on my mind where I'm like, you go through shampoo so fast.
Yes.
And like the toothpaste bites. I think it's just about like being open, being curious, thinking of like, reassessing things and not having to be like everything is a given.
It's not like overcomplicating things. Like, let's just think about like how our grandparents and great grandparents lived.
Totally.
Right.
No, I think that's, to give shout outs to other brands, like the beauty of like Blue Land, I think. Like,
yes.
Think about things like dish soap and laundry soap. Like everything was a pressed powder because it was heavier to transport liquids and space. And it's like now we're just going back to how we used to.
Yeah.
It's just like keeping it simple and just being curious. Is it easy for me to do something better? So I think it's all about like, what are your priorities? What are important to you? And what are things that are easy for you to do? Because it's all about doing something. So like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like every day is a new day. Just try to do something good and that's all you can do at the end of the day.
My last question is what is next for Reel and HoldOn Bags? What can we expect to watch out for?
I think, so interestingly, it's a really interesting time because Reel and HoldOn, we used to be sister companies and we more formally merged. So I think there's just so much opportunity for us to use each brand to amplify our voices, educate more, drive more awareness, and the person that is buying Reel is probably interested in a replacement for their traditional plastic products and vice versa.
Totally. Right.
So I think there's just more collective power between the two brands being a little bit more merged together. And then I'm just excited to, keep the focus on community building. How can we get out into interesting partnerships, interesting spaces, and bringing that to the forefront for both brands and continuing it. I think, it's important to be out there, in the conversation where people can see you. I think that's why the cleanups are so great. It's a conversation starter. Our bags look so different. It has our manifesto on it. It makes you stop and have a conversation with someone. So I'm excited to keep bringing that to Reel HoldOn, finding interesting ways of just getting connected to people. And then we do have a new product launch for Reel happening hopefully in June, I believe.
Ooh.
And then we'll see what is in store for HoldOn as well. I think, we're just excited to have like a little bit more of like collective power together officially as two brands. And I'm just excited to, keep beating the drum.
I love it so much. You are an inspiration. Reel and HoldOn Bags are an inspiration. You're truly solving these problems for all the reasons that we've talked about, but it really just, it is at the end of the day about the little things that you can do every single day. And you guys are helping us do that.
Yeah, well, we need a way of sharing that message. So likewise, it's so a platform to share that message.
Thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story, for sharing all your tips. I cannot wait to continue to follow Reel and HoldOn Bags, keep using their products. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Jenny.
Jenny.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.